One. Hey folks, welcome to Bouncing Brains. We are recording this on a boggy, something like that. Maybe there was a bong involved. I don't know. Who turned on the smoke machine? My point being, we're recording this Monday, February 24th, 2020. I'm Sean Hatfield.
And I'm Freddy G, and this episode has been brought to you by Fiji Water. Get all of your electrolytes. I'm kidding, guys. I'm just trying to get a fuking sponsorship. That's all I'm trying to do.
His is sponsored by Fiji Water. Mine is methamphetamine and herbal tea. Just a little notification. We did record the live episode down in Harlingen last Friday. For any of y'all that were paying attention, thank you to any of y'all that came out. You know, we had a wild fucking night. As the bartender put it, shit got fucking crazy. We started off talking about smoking crack out of your ass and then just went from there. It was cum dumpsters and all kinds of frivolous nonsense. We had a blast. Thanks again to the boys at the Not Suitable for Listeners podcast, Roy, Bert, and Joseph. If you have not listened to the Not Suitable for Listeners podcast, go check it out. They're funny as fuck.
And special thanks, man, for the great folks at the spot out in Harlingen for hosting our bullshit, man. I really do appreciate that.
Bernie, you my boy, Bernie. Anyway, yeah, so, and we're, if you didn't catch that one, we will be doing another one probably coming up in the next couple months. Ass end of April, first part of May. Keep an ear open. We'll be doing something. We did have some technical difficulties, so the full episode for the live episode will not be coming out. Hopefully we can salvage some clips and get those up just to give you all a little taste of the insanity that did ensue. Surprisingly, I wasn't the drunkest one there. Jesse, don't you ever spill beer on the fucking soundboard again, motherfucker.
I want to make a public service announcement.
Fuck Jesse?
Fuck Jesse Lopez. Fuck him in his greaseball ass.
Yeah, but what do you want to say negative?
No, that's fine.
Don't you threaten Jesse with a good time.
Fuck you, Jesse.
So yeah, if y'all are interested in that, we will be doing further episodes of that. And like I said, hopefully some clips will be coming out. I'm trying to salvage the audio right now. But today, my friends, we have a special guest in studio, first time on the podcast. Wonderful individual, owner and operator of Widowmaker Studios, along with a plethora of other projects that we are about to get into right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Joshua Lopez.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Mr. Sir, I'd like to get right into it.
Yeah.
I want to start by saying that I do not know who the fuck you are. I apologize for that.
Cool. So let me lay the hammer that is Widowmaker Studios and Joshua Lopez.
All right. So yeah, just go I know we just talked about this off camera. I told you that this is not the interview type, but if I do got questions, I'm gonna ask. So for example, just kind of give me, because like I said, I don't know much. Just kind of give me and the listeners just a little bit of a background of who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Cool. So basically, I am a musician since the age of 5 years old. I grew up playing guitar, drums, bass, and pretty much anything I could get my hands on.
Hey man, I've been playing with myself since I was 5. Does that count?
Hell yeah, skin flute all day. So I grew up into music extremely nonstop. Picked up producing in middle school. After high school, picked up being a cover band and producing. In 2016, I came out with my studio, Widowmaker Studios. And today I record the majority of rock and metal that happens in the RGV. And it doesn't stop there. I actually work with bands from Hawaii, California, Vegas, New York.
Let me stop you right there real quick because I'm going to forget. I don't ask.
Yes.
Just with that bit of information that you asked. If I was going to record a studio quality comedy album,
I would be the guy. Oh yeah.
Awesome.
You do like on site.
Oh, I could definitely do on site. Yeah, definitely.
Shit.
And get it real nice. Like if you want it to sound like it was a Netflix special, I would definitely be able to make it sound like it was a Netflix special.
All right.
We were briefly talking sound.
but not the Netflix prices, right?
Oh no, not the Netflix prices.
All right. I ain't trying to break the bank before I get it.
Of course. No. It's something like that's not, it's really not that bad, but it just falls into my line of work of what I do.
I was contemplating if I should say it or not. Y'all don't get your panties wet yet. I'm seriously thinking of recording a 30-minute comedy album.
Nice.
I have the material down.
And you want to stick to just audio?
Don't tempt me, motherfucker.
No, you can't do that.
Don't tempt me.
It's the live audio album DVD.
I'll be honest. I did contemplate doing a 30-minute special.
You don't have to break the bank. It doesn't have to break the bank.
I'm not even worried about that. I have somebody. I mean, I don't know if they're 100% serious, but I have somebody that told me that they would back 50% of it. It's like, if you ever do want to do a half-hour special, I'll help you with 50%, whatever that is, and you just do the other half. So that kind of gave me motivation. My thing is that I'm very anal, for lack of a better word, when it comes to my craft. So even if I were to put a 30-minute special out, I want to make sure that it's top notch, and I don't want to put any bullshit out, because I want to put something out that I would buy.
Yeah, definitely.
So if I wouldn't buy it, I wouldn't sell it to you.
Of course.
So what I'm trying to tell you is, I feel that as far as the special, the 30-minute special viewing and everything, I'm not there yet. So, but I think the audio, I think I can definitely do that.
Well, definitely like the audio and video, I know production with my crew. I have video guys, several, and I'm an audio guy.
Like I said, don't tempt me, motherfucker.
I know
this is really selling it. You know what I'm saying?
I know, like, we do legit work. Just, we work with people all around. My camera guy just took off to Hollywood today to go record over there.
I'll put it to you this way. I trust your talent. I don't trust mine yet.
And that brings me to the next thing I was going to say. I have no doubts in the audio video realm. My doubt would be you, because I haven't seen. Actually, I've seen you once. I have seen you once.
Well, fuck. I'm curious. Where the fuck did you see me?
Oh man, you did a quick one. Did you bring him out when I switched to Last Pocket for a quick couple of weeks?
No, man. Freddy wasn't even around for all that.
I saw you recently.
He's got bad short-term memory, but I've mentioned your name multiple times before we even reached out to you to come on the podcast.
And like you're a part of your spiel is you talk about your condition, correct?
You a mind reader, man.
Yeah, I know. I've totally.
I'm gonna give you a rundown real quick, because you said that you work with a lot of live bands and you work with a lot of people, and I believe you. So just real quick, I did a show at the South Padre Convention Center.
Nice.
No, I'm saying this because the reason I mentioned that is because there was a shitload of bands that went on before me.
Oh, you talking about
this was about
the Herbervilles played out there?
This was
for,
about a year.
Offspring? Yeah, that was almost a year ago.
A year ago? No. It was with
you don't remember what the production company was?
Too Short.
Too Short.
You know who Too Short is?
No.
Oh shit! Is
he a rapper? Is he a rapper?
I'm about to throw this fucking microphone at you. Yeah, he's a rapper.
Okay. Yeah.
Wrong genre, homie.
Yeah.
No. I know, but they had rap, rock, and they had live bands.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe you might have seen me on that. You might have seen me.
No, it was a more personal. Little thing, and it was real quick. I think you came in to just like do it in between some bands.
Oh man!
Probably for a show that I ran sound for or something.
You did one with Freddy, right?
Uncommon Grounds
in McAllen, here in McAllen, with Ceres.
No.
But he has seen me.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Now that shit's gonna bother me all fucking night. You know what I mean? So, but nonetheless, first of all, I want to say thank you. I mean, I don't know if I made you laugh or not, but if I didn't,
you did. No, you totally did. Yeah.
So thank you. And if I did 5 minutes,
It was like a quick 5 minutes.
Normally, I wouldn't say this to another man. I usually tell this to women. But if I did 5 minutes and you liked it, my long game is way better. So, you know what I'm saying? You should come see
I hope so. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey man, so I'm just gonna tell you this. I know you've only seen me for 5 minutes or whatever, but on my next local show, if you want to come through, I'll make sure you get in for free and everything.
Yeah, for sure. Where you at?
As of right now,
you got one coming up tomorrow.
Cena?
You're doing the thing with Mario tomorrow, man. 27th. Wait, is this
No, don't fucking tell me that because I don't.
24th tomorrow.
Oh, okay, man. You good.
Motherfucker, you scared the shit out of me.
Motherfucker, I don't keep your schedule. I just see flyers and shit.
You're still wrong.
Hey, man, you actually. And again, if you can make it, if you can, it's totally cool, no problem. I have one coming up on the 27th. Yeah, Thursday. It's gonna be at the Tropicana in Edinburgh.
Nice.
Inside the
I thought you were doing something down in Harlingen with Mario, man. I'm thinking of that last week?
Don't tell me that, bro. Because I'm gonna be pissed if Mario calls me and be like, "Hey, man, where you at?" Because I'm in Edinburgh on the 27th.
All right, I know you were doing the 27th because you're doing that one was with Rudy. Was it Redline Production or something like that?
So what's going on in Harlingen? Just
I don't know, motherfucker. I see flyers out there. I don't keep track of your schedule, man. You want an agent? You have to start paying me, son. But
okay, I'm scared now.
You should be.
As of now, I got the Tropicana. It's inside the Echo Hotel.
Yeah, no, I know. I've actually played there.
Oh, okay, cool.
With the cover band when they were doing that.
I'm doing a short feature, so it's about 15, 20 minutes.
Nice.
So I'm doing a feature there. If you want to come through, you're more than welcome.
What time?
It's gonna be at 9:30, if I'm not mistaken. But let me confirm real quick. At 10. I'm sorry.
Cool.
By the way, to clarify, I know exactly what I was getting confused with. They're doing the roast battle at London's tomorrow night.
I'm not.
No, you're not on that one. I'm just saying, like,
you scared the shit out of me, bro, because it was.
I'm telling you, man, get yourself a better calendar, man.
For real. No, but no.
I mean, he was on it. I mean, you came in left field and filled his brain with...
Yeah, I got the right fucking date.
This is like an obstacle course, man. I'm throwing tires at your feet and shit.
You told me that you also travel, so I do a few gigs out of town, too. The next out of town one that I have is in Corpus.
Nice.
I'm lying. I take that back. I'm sorry. That is a private gig. You're not allowed. I'm sorry. I take that back. But I have San Antonio after that. And Laredo in March.
Nice.
And if you fly, I have
I do, not on my dime.
I don't know. I was about to say I didn't mean physically, but if you fly, I'm gonna be having hopefully I'm trying to finalize it. I'll have my first out of state gig at the end of March. In Nebraska.
Nice. So I'm actually starting a tour, a 31-date tour at the end of March.
I'll open for you for sure, man. Just send me
Let's go. So I just joined this band, one of the biggest bands of my career. They basically opened my world up to endorsements and to the bigger scene. I go to this convention every year called NAMM, and it's basically all the best musicians and brands in the world get together for a week across this. It's at the Anaheim Convention Center across the street from Disneyland. And, I go there to network every year. And this past year, I just joined one of the bands that I work with. And, one of their things is they're hitting the road for 31 days across the US and Canada, with Power Glove.
Now, let me ask you a personal question.
Yeah.
Do you have a regular job?
No. I 110% live off of music.
Can I be honest with you?
What's up?
I fucking hate you so much.
This goes back to the conversation we were having before.
It's all good.
No, I'm fucking with you, man. I will say from the bottom of my heart, man. I don't know you, but I'm proud of you because that means that you did something right that got you there. So. That's what we're trying to get with this shit.
Hey, man.
And with the jokes and everything.
I think anything is very possible. And I've been a testament to that. And people that I know in my circle have been a testament to that. My friend was on MTV, the guy that I work with. I've done stuff with people that are just like amazing.
Hey man, can you give me an interview with Kurt Loder?
That motherfucker's still alive.
Oh man!
I think we should be fair and mention Joshua is a very talented guitarist. Like, you are very skilled at your craft, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just no life. I mean, for me, like, you know, I don't go out on the weekends. I don't really go out. You know, it's just I spend my time on my craft, and I grew up playing music so much, and that being the only thing that there was nothing else was an option.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I just kept working and working, and you know, going back to the drawing board constantly, going in and out, back and forth, just, you know, seeing what works for me and finding my market, meeting people, getting out there is very important. Right now, the big thing is video content. So I'm a content creator for several brands, and I keep on that grind as well as, you know, recording bands on a daily basis and working with bands every day.
Real quick, making money off music. Going back to that real quick. Are you married?
I'm engaged.
Okay, so
recently, as of recently,
nice.
Like
so,
a month fresh.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
And I don't know how long you've known this woman. I don't need to know, but I just want to tell you that keep her, bro, because my ex-wife, when I told her that I wanted this to be my career, she told me that I needed to get a real job. So if you can find that woman, if you can find that woman that'll stick, because we're all creators, we're all artists in here. Yeah, we know how fucking hard it is to start from the bottom and do shit for free and all of that. Mm-hmm. I'm still doing shit for free. Yeah. Somebody fucking pay me, please. So we all understand the struggle, and it's hard to get a significant other. It's hard enough to get her to stick around, yet it's even harder to get her to understand why you want her to stick around.
So I give props to my girlfriend. I met my girlfriend when I was 18, and she's 24. I'm 26 now.
Holy shit.
And she, like, I don't know what, but she saw this investment in this 18-year-old. And, you know, we've dealt through some stuff. You know, it's rough. Like, you know how it is working from the bottom. You know, I've had to do a lot of random stuff. Great thing, I have a lot of different things I can do. I'm an electric engineer and stuff like that too. But,
wait, hold on. You're not going to go blow past that like it's nothing. Back up. You're an electrical engineer. Like, you have a bachelor's degree and shit.
Not certified, technically, but
you can rewire a house like it's nobody's business.
Kind of, not a house, more like electronics, like arcades and portable systems and just like systems, TVs, you know, anything that has to do with electronics in that realm. The houses are actually easier, but they're just like bigger frames and bigger power to work with.
Can you fix a fucking AC? Because it's hot in this bitch.
Your AC's messed up? What's wrong with it? It's dirty? It's dirty.
The ventilator gave out.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I can check it out.
I'm taking a shot in the dark, but you mentioned you started doing the production when you were in high school, you said?
Yeah, I started in middle school, actually. I started recording in middle school, and in high school, you know, freshman, sophomore, I was doing myself, and then junior, senior was when I started recording other people.
Okay, did that lead to, because we were kind of, again, briefly having a conversation before this about, you know, their equipment fails sometimes.
Yeah.
I was telling you about that soundboard we were having to work with, and it was just kind of, you know, plug the XLR in and go, that one doesn't work, that one doesn't work. So I'm kind of guessing like that's what got you into the electronics, or was that just something?
Actually, my grandpa's an electrician, and he does houses. He's worked on big transformers. He'll do like Walmarts and Gold's Gyms, and
holy shit!
And so he does that. And I grew up, man, as long as I could remember, like it was Super Nintendo, guitar, and taking my stuff apart. You know what I mean?
And you didn't
always
fucking put it together.
Oh, I would, of course.
Okay,
Well,
right.
see, I learned
warranties
a lot.
left and right.
Oh yeah, I would. Like, look, Mom,
'cause-
I put my CD player I fixed it, and I didn't have to put all the screws back. And they would make fun of me for that. I'm like, well, my CD
they
player
just
works.
extra and shit.
Like they just extra. They don't need to be there. You know what I mean?
Dumbass
Like, when the
engineers
freaking
putting all this extra shit.
I want easy access in case this thing breaks again. But I just grew with a fascination, and I just learned, from my grandpa gave me a soldering iron when I was in 6th grade because he bought me an electric guitar that needed some wiring. And he was like, well, we don't have time, but here you go. So I picked it up since 6th grade, and I've pretty much had a soldering gun in my hand since then. I started on a gun. I started on a soldering gun and made my way to a pen or a soldering,
shit,
like everybody now, which is what I use generally, but it's all worked hand in hand with each other. I play in a video game tribute band. Retro video games is my passion. I own like every system. I have an arcade room. So that ties into the music. I have an arcade room, like full out. At one point I had like 20 cabs in my house because I work for a lot of people who
then
like
you must really be a damn good musician. Either that or you're a great marketer. No, fucking with you.
You got to do both. You got to do everything. Well, okay, I'm not gonna lie. There is talent involved, but I think talent still doesn't get you all the way there. I have many friends who are talented and successful, and they even tell me like, man, talent is like 15-20%. The rest is all the other business bullshit that, belongs with it. The politics, social media, how you carry yourself as an image, and stuff like that. And it's tough in today's world. Talent doesn't get you everywhere.
I don't know if this has been your experience, but like more often than not, when I run across people who, granted, talented in whatever craft they're doing, but they, picked up the little skills along the way, the ancillary stuff, the auxiliary fucking, toolkit that, you'd be like, hey man, I do this. And it's like, well, we don't need that. Hey, I also do this. And it's like, oh, we definitely need that. Yeah. So
that happens. When I got with my guitar company, I was like, I'm a producer. I recorded this band. I did some audio for a guy who got the first video I did with him got 1 million views, and I used that to get with him. But I was like, hey, I could produce audio for you and I can create video content. And that's what they wanted. You know what I mean? So I did that for them so that they would keep supplying me. And then now we have this really nice relationship.
So I'm going to take a shot in the dark here. You don't have an agent, right?
No.
Good.
It would be a waste of money.
Yeah, I was about to say, where you're at right now, brother, you don't need to give 15% to nobody. You don't got to worry about that.
Yeah. And I feel like in today's day and age, they're just not necessary. And neither are labels, music labels for that matter. I feel like a lot of bands make their goal to be on a label, and they're really just
I'll be honest with you. At this point, I do feel that I need a fucking agent. I just need work thrown at me. I tell everybody, look, man, you just give me a microphone, give me the people, and I'll do the rest. But because I mean, I understand you're not a comedian, but like I said, we're all creative. But in the comedy, in the comedy grind. It's all about.
So I don't, I've only seen what I've seen, and I don't know exactly what you do on social media. I feel right now as a comedian, you're the best bet for any comedian and anybody who's a musician, comedian, artist, anything like that is video content. This is helping you right now. And I really think you should explore this, but that video, audio, DVD and stuff like that, that's where it's at. Digestible things. You have a skit that's 2-3 minutes long. That needs to be, you need to put that out there and keep consistent with that because that's where everything is shifted. You don't get people's attention at the bar or the venue. You get them right here.
So I get it. I completely understand and I agree with you. In comedy, this is the double-edged sword. So in music, because real quick, and I'm not going to give you the whole story unless you want me to, but I've done music too. When I was in high school, I did the whole rap thing, and I recorded mixtapes, sold them out the trunk of my car, $5 a pop, so I did all that shit. When you're a musician, and you got this single, and you put it out, and it hits and the whole neighborhood want to hear it, you want that. You want people to take your CD, because back then, in my age, it was CDs and shit. So you want people to take your CD, play that back, and, give it to their friend, listen to it. When you're a comedian, it doesn't really work that way.
Well, it doesn't work that way now either, by the way.
Well, what I mean is because when it's a song, people will listen to it over and over. When it's a joke, the biggest element that we have as a comedian is the element of surprise. So if you hadn't seen my joke somewhere and then you go watch me live, but you've already seen that joke, it's not going to have the same impact. That's one thing. Second thing is going back to doing the recording of the audio video, or whether it be just audio. For example, if I were to record those 30 minutes, after I record them and I put them out and I start selling that CD or that DVD, whatever, I cannot use those 30 minutes again. I have to remove them, retire them, never say them, never. Those jokes are done. Now, if I make money, if I make $1 million off that CD with that 30 minutes of material, great. But the biggest gamble is if I don't, I'm not going to get that money. Plus, I'm never going to,
get those jokes
back. And I have to write new ones. Now, given there is comedians, and I'm going to say this with a lot of confidence, washed up comedians that have run the same hour for nearly 10 years. I feel that if you're a talented comedian,
you don't need to keep doing that.
Exactly.
I mean, like Dave Chappelle. The guy's got like jokes like left and right, joke jar.
Exactly my point.
If I can jump in here in the middle real quick, I do think there is more and more like you were talking about the way people are kind of consuming the content and actually engaging. I think
I don't mean to be rude, but I think that whole mindset of everything you just said is, for a lack of better words, wrong.
Okay.
That's where you're, I guess, messing up at, is you see it like that.
Okay.
So right now you're saying like the only way you're thinking you can make money is by doing shows, correct?
It's not the only way, but
like the main bread maker. Like, yeah, there's plenty of ways, but your main way of making money would be shows, in your head, shows.
And the road. Yeah.
Okay. So that is one way to capitalize on it. But because of the way people digest things nowadays, I'm not saying to put a 30-minute video out. In fact, that would work against you in today's day and age, because nobody wants to sit and watch a comedy thing on their phone for 30 minutes. What they want is a minute. They want 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And if you're such a good comedian, then coming up with a 2-minute joke that is never going to be used in your live performance as a video should be easy. Then what you need to, what the hard part about only making shows out of your live performances, you got to get people to get off their couch and go see you in the shows.
Yeah.
Well, how are they going to do that if they don't know who you are?
I agree 100%.
So what you do is you and the thing is they're not going to see, they're not going to, a highlight reel is good too, but you got to put it in their face over and over and over again, and kind of hit them from left and right corner. And then if you're a comedian and you put your video, let's say it's a minute long video out there, it's going to take the person like 3, 4, 5 times of it scrolling on their timeline to even want to press play. That's real. That's, I don't know who this person is. It's going to take a bunch of times before they really, and then what adds to that is like, how good the video looks. If you just did your camera phone in the corner, that has a feel to it. Is somebody less likely to do it, to click on that? Probably not. The more you put production into the small, finer things, the more you're going to engage people. The hardest part about social media now is you really have to not put yourself over the top, but you need to have a certain level of professionalism so people can take you seriously. And that's just one part. Then you have to focus on the content. That 1 minute joke, was it really funny?
Yeah.
Was it really relatable?
Yeah.
If it was, what happens is if it's genuine, right? We're not talking about paying for promotion here,
Yeah.
which if it's genuine, you know, then we get into the sharing and the sharing and the sharing and the sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a thing about social media is you might put your first video out and you're like, well, that only got me 100 views.
Yeah.
Let's say it even gets you 1,000, which is still really good for a first video. You're thinking, oh, that wasn't enough. This is a waste of my time. Why am I doing this? Wrong again. You need to consistently do it and keep putting yourself out there for people to keep seeing. And then they're going to go, oh, this is this guy. And then there's always a kind of theme to your jokes, right? Every comedian has what they joke about. So then, oh, I saw that one last week. Oh, I saw that the second one. I saw the third one. You know, they're going to see different ones, and then they're going to create their judgment. By 3, 4, maybe 5 videos of 1 minute, 2 minute bangers, that person will have decided whether you're funny or not and whether they want to actually come see you.
Yeah.
Now you're winning. Now you're bringing people out to your show. But there's other angles on social media that you can also work to make revenue. You may think that joke is gone. Well, one, it's going to gain you your audience because you need to build an audience nowadays, and you can actually capitalize it on paying for promotion, but not paying for promotion in the way you would think, like I'm trying to get more views. Paying in the promotion where you go to a venue out of town and you go, hey, let's say you put out a promotion for somebody in New York. You want to play in New York. You have nobody you know in New York. So you advertise your 3 best videos that hit in your area to New York.
You're doing kind of a forerunner type.
You know, and then you go to like a bar near door. Hey, I got 2,000 people who are interested in your area in my content. Oh, okay. I will, what's your ride or how much are you looking at? Yeah. See how the conversation changes though? Because you've already created the demand. You've already, you know what I mean? There are people who are going to say, oh, people are going to come see you. Okay. How much do you want? You're already making the shots. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I want like $500 and a room and stay and a food. So, multiply that, bro. You could be you could.
So I got one more question, my brother. So like, would you like to be my agent? I'll give you 20%. Fuck that 15. You know.
I'm sorry. Those who don't do teach, and brother, I'm too busy doing. I'm sorry.
To be honest, man,
that was just real quick to cap it off. I listened to every single word you just said, and I've had many different people give me the game. That's the best game I've received in years, to be honest.
Oh, man.
So thank you.
It's just like, man, today's
and the way you broke it down was just beautiful.
So, thank you. I mean, that's what I do.
What I'm saying is I was in special ed and I understood that. That's all the fuck I'm saying. So great job, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. You mentioned the idea of, you know, people won't necessarily sit down and watch like a whole 30-minute type of clip.
Yeah.
One of the things that has just been kind of running on loop in my head was I think it was about a year back. There's a comic up in New York named Andrew Schultz who basically put his entire special out on YouTube. Like he didn't even, I think he tried to sell it to a few people and he just
didn't work. Okay.
Fuck it. Chopped it into clips, put it out, and just got a massive response.
Okay. He chopped it into clips.
Yeah.
But
that was
15-minute clips.
That was
some of them smaller than that, but
that was the smartest move. And people might have overlooked what you just said. That one move makes the difference.
I would definitely recommend going and listen to, I think, there's a whole series.
I only saw 4 15-minute clips of that.
If you go check out Andrew Schultz's channel on YouTube, I know I've mentioned him on here a bunch, but like I said, what he had said, basically what he was talking about was he had noticed that the same people he was asking about, you know, are you watching specials on Netflix? Are you, you know, going out to shows and shit? And they're like, I started to watch this special, got about maybe 20 minutes into it, just never went back and watched the rest. But these same people he was asking would go on YouTube and watch, you know, clip after clip after clip. Next thing you know, they've been watching for 2 hours of, either one comic or they're diverging off in different comics. But the idea is they're consuming more content that they would have if it was just the straight shot.
Yes. So he might be, I think you said that he's targeting the people that are wanting to see that, in a sense. Like they're like, because you have, comedy is funny in a way. I don't really typically watch.
Supposed to be. You know what I'm saying?
What I mean is, like, to the main market, which you got to kind of think on the grander scale of things. Right. In the main market, I'm not going to watch that special until there's a bit of buzz, right? Like, I didn't watch the new Dave Chappelle special until people were already like, well, like first.
Oh, I was on that shit at midnight, bro. I stayed up to like 2 a.m.
Because you're a comedian. Oh, you're like, the fraction of you is really small.
There's also a built-in audience there.
So there's 2 ways you can think about it. There's niche marketing, which would be like, I only want to get into the market of the people who want to consume comedy. The comedians, the people, my jokes are meant for them. They're geared towards them. You actually if you can get into a market like that and pinpoint it and find it, you'll probably make a better living, because it's easier for you to be the best at that than it is being the best comedian all around. You know what I mean? So like comedians who are like, who do niche marketing, right? They do comedy on a certain type of topic or a certain type of comedy. They end up making a living because they capitalize on that. So what is your thing? We kind of talked earlier about how your spiel is, you talk about your condition, right? So because
what a lot of people don't know, and I'm telling you because you're a very fucking smart individual, and for the people that I've said this before, but like, me and Sean talked about it. Sean's my fucking shrink, so
unpaid.
So I have I may not look very smart, but I actually have a plan. There's a reason as into why I'm doing what I'm doing. So for example, you ask what's your niche, you talk about my condition. So I've told Sean before, I actually, as of a couple years back, I have my first 3-hour specials planned out. So what I'm saying is, my first special is I'm just gonna tell people who I am, which hence my condition. Me, my condition, my life dealing with the outside world. My second special is gonna be my me dealing with the introspect of the outside world looking at me and my different points of views on different issues like family, the political spectrum, here and there, like different issues that have to do with the world. My third special is gonna be, again, my condition, but dealing with, I have a daughter, so it's gonna be all about me being a crippled father. And yes, I said crippled father. A crippled father, and because by that time, my daughter should be 16. So by this time, I should be well into fatherhood. So it's gonna be all about me being basically a crippled father and dealing with that shit. I even have a title for the third special already. It's gonna be called Daddy Issues. So I have them. So kind of to circle back around to what you said, that's the reason as to why now that first hour special. This is why now you're hearing my condition and where I come from, my neighborhood, me drug dealing. Well, y'all haven't heard that yet, but it's coming. I'm working on it.
The streets.
Yeah, don't burn that material.
No, I'm not burning it yet, but I mean they about to hear that shit. So that's where it's coming from, and I have it planned out that way. So I'm kind of circling back to your question. It kind of is my niche now, but it's not, because eventually
that's amazing. I see at least the next 5 to 8 years planned out with just those 3 different eras, if you will, right? That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah.
3 1-hour specials is really an era because you take that hour, right? And I'm not saying to put that hour on social media. In fact, it's really best if you don't, because if you want people to come to your shows, you want to save the best for the live. And that's exactly what you were talking about. When a joke's gone, it's joked. But I'm sure you got some stingers that you can make some stuff in and start reeling people in and do that for the course of the next year and work on building your audience and bringing that audience in.
And just to throw this out there for anybody that's interested in comedy as the process of actually creating. I think one thing that a lot of comics overlook is that if you're doing, first of all, you have throwaway jokes. If you're showing up in a new town, what is this? Fucking, Abilene? Fuck Abilene. Exactly. That's it.
Yeah. Like Bill Burr's famous fuck Philadelphia.
Oh, that was impromptu, fucker. But still, that did gangbust. There's still people that fucking like, oh my God, have you seen this? Like dozens of times.
What's cool about with the technology and everything's around the stage is you have this idea, right? And before you would have to have these big crews and this big budget and this big thing. Nowadays, it just takes you and the heart and the vibe that you put into it. So if you put, like you see, like I've seen your comedy, it's real. You know what I mean? It's very real in the sense like you know how to connect with the listener. So if you put that for people to see, that's what they're going to buy into. Not necessarily the joke too is really funny, but they're going to buy into your persona. And as long as you have that persona and stick to it.
And first of all, I want to say thank you because that's exactly, ever since I started my career, that's a promise I made to myself and my friend that's no longer with me, that he was the one that believed in me before I believed in myself. He was like, hey man, you got to try it because you're funny. And I was like, nah man, I'm not funny like that. And I'll never forget that he told me, he was like, because I don't like people calling me a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. I mean, like, I don't like when people seriously call me a bitch and mean it.
Oh, okay.
So what he said, I was like, do it. He was like, do it, man. You're funny. I was like, dude, I'm not funny like that. I have stage fright. I can't do this shit. And he said, friend, you're funny. Stop being a bitch. And you need to do it. So the bitch part bothered me. So I was like, all right, fuck it then. So I took my leap and I did it. But I feel that if it wasn't for him, I would have never gave that attempt. Now, when I was 8 years old, I saw Richard Pryor live on Sunset, the HBO special, and that's what made me fall in love with comedy and me wanting to try it. But my stage fright always held me back up into that point. Yeah. November of 2008. So anyway, my point is that going back to, I made that promise to myself and to him that I tell everybody, yeah, when you come to my show, I want to make you laugh. That's the purpose of a comedy show. But what a lot of people don't understand is when I'm making you laugh, I mean, you can laugh all you want. That's what I want you to do. But what a lot of people don't understand, and like some of them don't know, is that you're actually hearing my life on stage. The shit that I'm telling you, it really did happen.
Yeah.
It really did. When I tell you that I had a motherfucker in a wheelchair threatening me to kick my ass, that really did happen. You understand me? So I just give the people my life on stage, and the only difference is, and I've told everybody, the only difference is that I twist and alter the truth a little bit just so I can get you that punchline. But everything before that punchline is real. You know what I'm saying? And I can't lead away from it, like, because I feel that if you're a musician. So when we're on stage, whether you like it or not, you give a piece of yourself to that audience. And if you, I feel that if you build the persona, you're not really giving.
Yeah. So, persona. That's very interesting. The more real you are and the more you are, the more you're not faking, right?
Yeah.
But you have to wear whatever your life on your sleeve as a persona. And what gives you the edge is that it's very much real. You're not faking. Everything you explained to me is like the definition of a good comedian. You know what I mean? Somebody who uses, and a good musician and an artist in general. Somebody who uses their life experience to convey their message in their art. Even actors. I feel like actors nowadays lack life experience versus actors back in the day. When they were crying on set, they were crying on set. When they were mad on set, they were mad on set because of life experiences. So it should be really easy for you to take what you've already honed in on to the audience and just putting it on a platform to bring people to come have that experience with you. And the video will never give you justice. Ever, especially if you're as real as you are. But we have to somehow capitalize and bring people to come feel and give them that experience. If you have an experience to offer, you need to show them that you have an experience.
And the reason that I do it is because I've said it on stage. Some of the shit that I tell people on stage is not necessarily funny, but I mean it not to be funny. The reason being is because if I say something on stage that's not funny, is because I'm really trying to tell you something. And I've managed to make people laugh when I didn't mean to.
Not to dampen this too much, but just before we encourage somebody to go out to an open mic and treat it like a fucking open therapy session, there is a craft work to it, and there is definitely the persona issue. I think the best example.
Well, because that's
like a stage actor versus a film actor.
That's what I was gonna say, though. I'm glad that you brought it up before me, because that's where I was leading to. The open mic thing, and for people that have never done comedy and wanna try it, I don't discourage anybody. If you think you got it, go to an open mic and try it. If it doesn't work the first time, all I'm saying, don't be a bitch. Try it again. That's all I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, yes, no matter how real you get on stage, you can, again, for us comedians, you can never forget that at the end of the day, no matter what you say, you're there to make people laugh.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, you can fucking tell them your life story, but don't forget your punchline.
Yeah.
You know
that's what makes like a good comedian, in my opinion, is that fine line between real and the punchline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Leave a little bit of illusion there. That's like,
yeah. But you have to reel them in, right? You have to reel them into the story.
I'll be honest.
And then I kicked her right in the pussy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So my shit. And again, thank you, because you said it. I didn't. But my shit and this is no joke. I really wish I had that fan here so she could verify it. My shit has proven to me that it's gotten so real that I have had a person come up to me and give me a hug and tell me that I was real funny. But she whispered in my ear. She said, "Do you really have a small penis?"
See?
Yeah.
See, there you go. You're like, I had to,
Yeah. So,
you're like, well, why didn't you find out?
Yeah, so.
That's for.
Yeah, man, but go.
God bless the chuckle fuckers.
So, I'm just saying, because I'm proving your point of what you're saying, that you gotta give that realness, but you gotta, going with what you said, you have to leave something to the imagination, because that's what makes people crack up.
Yeah. I hate, okay, so like, there's this Netflix show that came out for like a season, and it was with the comedian who plays Olaf in Frozen. I don't know if you've seen that comedian.
I've never seen Frozen. So basically, I'm sorry.
This generation is all dick and fart jokes, right? And then you got the comedian. He's the voice for Michael Wazowski in Monsters Inc. He's a big comedian, but he's an old school comedian.
Billy Crystal?
Billy Crystal.
Okay.
Okay, so they're in the show together, and let's see, where was I going with this? Let's just put it this way, like, to me, the good jokes are wit and leaving it up to the imagination. Yeah. I don't think dick and fart jokes really last that long. You know, no. They're funny. They're a quick laugh. But a good comedian, you know, knows how to tell his story. I personally like witty jokes. Billy Crystal's like that, you know.
It's like, and going along with what you're saying, something that comes to mind. It's like everybody, and I agree, everybody believes that dick jokes are played out. I completely agree. But then I heard Dave Chappelle say a dick joke, and it was absolutely hilarious.
Oh, okay, so I'm not saying write it off.
No, I'm not saying that either, but I'm saying, going to what you were saying, the wit and the creativity in how you can write and deliver that joke makes all the difference.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, he said it was a dick masturbation joke that he said, right? And I knew,
but he disguises it.
Exactly.
He always does that.
So I was like, I knew where he was going, but when he hit me with the punchline from left field, I was like, fuck, I didn't see that.
So his latest, you know, special is great, and he talks about, I'm so good nowadays. You know, I actually start backwards.
Yeah,
I put a bunch of punchline in a bowl.
In a fishbowl.
Yeah, that's why he does, you know, punched her right in the pussy. That was the one he was going to do. And then like, we forget about that. He's going through his spiel, his special. He's got like a few jokes. And then he gets into this joke. And you've already long forgotten about punchlines altogether. And he's setting up this joke. And you think it's going to be this whole thing. And then he ends with, and I punched her right in the pussy.
No,
and the
most beautiful thing about it is that he tells you, see, I already told you the punchline and you laugh. But at the end, you don't even know what it is yet. You don't even know what's going to happen, but it's going to be hilarious. You know what I mean?
He's a good one, that man.
But I mean, that's why.
Dude, he's out there exploring like long form. We've talked about it a couple times, the special with the OJ bits.
Yeah.
Where
man,
okay, that does the walk off and comes back like for an encore, and like it seems kind of an impromptu, like I'm just gonna do this thing, and no, that's a built thing. That is a fabricated moment.
Me and my friend had an argument. Exactly. We talked about exactly about that. He was talking about it, dude. Did you see how he worked the OJ? He was telling me. He was like, "Did you see how he worked the OJ bits?" I mean, that was genius. He was telling me, right? And he was like, but did you see how he almost fucked up at the end? And I was like, all right, well, when did he fuck up? And he's like, well, he was leaving stage and he forgot to tell us the last one. I was like, bro, that was part of the whole thing. He was like, no, it wasn't. That whole thing of him leaving and coming back, and just the way he said, and the fourth time that was all part of it. And it was to keep you guessing just like you're guessing now.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's why I've always said, Dave is a comedian's comedian, because a lot of the shit that he delivers, if you're not in the same realm as far as like, at least have an inside understanding.
Attention to detail.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's why I think you're saying he's a comedian's comedian.
Yeah.
Because it's the subtlety and his mannerisms and certain things that he does that are part of the joke. But if you're not a comedian, you kind of don't pick up on those things.
Yeah, exactly.
You would think, oh, he fucked up. No, bro. That was part of the spiel. Like, it just went over your head.
Have y'all ever come across that series? I do not remember who the channel is. Otherwise, I'd let them know because they've got a great stuff. But there's a series of videos called, it's basically experts explaining one subject at like various levels of comprehension. So they're talking to like 5-year-olds, then they're talking to like, high school kids, then they're talking to, regular adults, then they're talking to professionals, and they're basically laying it down at, the simple, the basic, and more complexity. And you mentioned earlier the idea of like, you can build that audience that like wants to see what you're doing, but you also need to cater to the rest of the population out there. Like
in any profession, you have to wear many hats.
Right. Well, again, you're talented at your craft. Watching you play I forget some video I came across was you've got like a more than 6-string.
I'm an 8-string guitar player. Yeah, is what right. I play 6-string, of course, too, but I'm becoming known. My niche market has turned into, not like I intended, it's turned into 8-string guitar playing.
And I got to imagine you're probably getting people going like, oh man, that sounded great. And then you're getting that next level up going like, dude, like when you did this, and this, that was fucking crazy. And then you probably got some fucking freaky geek coming up on you and just like, dude, have you tried this and like changed that, fucking these strings.
Oh yeah. So like, I'm never complacent.
The same piece, but they're appreciating on multiple levels.
And it's interesting that you say that because sometimes I put out you kind of know when you have a piece of material, whether it's good or not, right? Yeah. That's yourself speaking to you, and your intuition to a certain extent. And it's good or not. And sometimes I feel like I put out a piece that I'm not like maybe too happy of. Yeah. And I put it out anyway because a part of the business is being consistent. And consistency doesn't always mean like you can't always dwell and you have to just keep moving forward, right? So I put out the piece, but and I always like, you like the video? Well, like, what is your opinion at a certain point? But there are definitely with everything, there are different levels that people can enjoy things at. So maybe the jokes that you don't think much of might be the jokes that just hit everybody right in the gut. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, we're coming up on the first hour. We got to take a quick break, but I do have a question I'd like to throw out to you, man, just to kind of wrap up the themes we've been playing with here, man. Do you think with let's say the pace of content that's coming out and almost the pace you have to set when you're putting that content out, you think there's something of an element of people are a little more interested in how the sausage is made? They want to almost see the thing in a rawer form.
So, I think, everybody wants everything and it's hard to please everybody.
Good answer.
I think, I think it's up to you to just keep pushing and trying different angles, always going back to the drawing board. Why didn't this work for me? Why didn't this work for me? Seeing, you take people's things into consideration, but then you realize like, man, I put too much effort trying to please these people that in the end it wasn't worth shit. I should have been worrying about these people the whole time. And you know what? That's what I wanted to do since the get-go. But I think people like to see the build of things. If you start raw, you start your comedy bits with a camera phone. You start raw, and then they're like, okay, well, this guy put out a bit. And then 2 weeks, a week later, you put out another bit, and then you put out another bit, and then slowly you got a camera guy by the 4th, 5th one that was able to throw you a bone and help you out because he liked your first 3 videos and thought you were funny. Then they saw that build. And I think people like to see growth, especially in the, you got to start with your inner circle, your friends and stuff like that. They like to see that their homie is, growing.
Not all of them.
Not all of them, right? Of course not. Of course not. Especially in the RGB. Especially in the RGB. Yeah, everybody's going to deal with that. But, it still stands, anybody, especially even if the guy doesn't know you, I love when I go see a band and it's like, man, I love Nine Inch Nails' first album, but they got progressively better and better and better. And then you go to the first album and you're like, man, that quality was not the greatest, but the content was emotion. You know, you still go back to listen to that, and then you appreciate where that person started and where that person ended up. So I also say, like, where people are worried about being, you know, going balls out and having the best production, the best this and that, I think you should, above all, not waste any time and start today.
Fail faster.
Fail faster. Danny Elfman, he's a composer for the Simpsons theme, any Tim Burton movie. Yeah. He's a big, well-known composer and Tales from Crypt.
He's one of those guys, like, you hear his stuff and you go, oh, that's fucking Elfman.
That's Elfman. Yeah, very dark, but like quirky. You know what I mean?
It's like a Dr. Dre beat. They have that signature.
They kind of do, yeah.
You hear it and it's like, oh, that's Dre.
So the point I'm trying to make with him is he just came out with a masterclass giving you a glimpse into his world and how he creates his scores, right? And the first thing he fucking says is fail, 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 and keep on failing forward, like you said, because that's how anybody who was ever good at anything got better. Talent, right? We talked about that earlier. Talent is like a certain percentage and doesn't help you along. I feel like a lot of people, especially in the RGV, or I guess everywhere, they have this mentality where, like, I'm talented, I can half-ass things together. You know, I have a band that tells me, like, yeah, man, everybody lives, like, in different parts of Texas, so, like, the show is our practice, and we do pretty good like that. And that just makes me think, like, you're trying to coast off your talent and do the bare minimum when there are talented individuals who are just as talented who grind every single day and just get miles bigger. And then you just, because you failed already. You failed already because you thought you were talented enough to be the star. You've already failed because you're not getting any better. And I think people are afraid to fail and they just want to be badass at everything they do. They don't realize that the biggest part about getting better is failure. So Danny, somebody was saying, the guy who made the light bulb, he failed thousands of times. Yeah. And they go, how does it feel to fail 1,000 times? And he goes, you know, like, I didn't fail 1,000 times. It took me 1,000 times to get it right. You know what I mean? To fail forward. And it isn't fail. Is it failure if you're learning from it?
I think there may be two elements. Maybe one is a failure on the part of the creator to see what is possible. It's like, oh, good enough. And then there's the fear of the failure at the same time. And
yeah,
it's, dude, you see some band where they've got one guy, you know, going, oh, I don't think we could do this. And another guy going, no, we're perfectly fine. And you're going, oh, you guys are going to have some trouble down the line. And you see it in comics too. I mean,
yeah,
I'm guilty of it myself. I remember one of the first live shows I got put on. The feature asked me, he was like, hey man, how long have you been doing this? Like, oh man, about a year or so. It's like, oh, how much time can you do? Oh, I don't know, man. I could probably stretch like 20 minutes. And he goes, oh, so 5, right? And I was like, yeah, I can do 5.
Yep.
But it's that, like you said, you got to be aware of your own stuff. You have to, observe your failures. Revel in them a little bit.
Yes. Have you ever seen yourself on video? And when you're doing your spiel?
Horrible. Horrible.
Beautiful.
I would never watch me. I'm being honest. I was like, I remember the first time I saw myself, I literally said to myself,
I'm never going to do this again.
No. I said, I'm never going to make it. I would never watch me. I was like, no. And I immediately, on my next show, I immediately proceeded to apologize to everybody. I'm so sorry.
I'm not that. Yeah. So it's a good thing. Because
hold on, before you go into that, because we actually will run out of battery.
Okay, theme of the first hour, people, self-awareness. We'll be right back. 2, 1. All right, folks, we're back for our second hour here.
And in our second hour, this second hour has been brought to you by Dickies. If you want to support and rock and good wear Dickies. I'm kidding y'all. I'm trying to get a free Dickies is all I wear, and it's fucking getting expensive like a motherfucker.
And if you want to support and rock a hard dick, Viagra.
Yeah, man, but you were gonna ask them.
Oh, yeah, man. Okay, you're doing multiple projects at this point, just as far as you said you're playing in the, forgive me, man, but I forgot the name of the game, the video game themed.
Sonic Boom.
Sonic Boom. Okay. And are you still playing with,
Wait, hold on. Run that by me again.
So this is going to be really confusing, and a lot of people actually ask me, like, because I play in like 5-10 bands. They call me, they're like, you're in like 10 bands, bro.
Are you still doing radio on repeat?
Not anymore.
Okay.
I actually just, the studio took off in that I just didn't have time to do the cover band on the weekends or however many days they wanted me to keep doing that. But basically, Joshua Lopez, musician, producer, video content creator. I do, at the moment, I actually play with 30 bands. I've disbanded from 2 of them, and I've joined another one. I actually cannot say those details yet of what bands. Okay. But as of right now, I am guitar player, writer for the 2 bands, Sonic Boom and Lavacio. Okay. I play in many projects. I write for many projects. I produce and co-write for a lot of projects. So I'm just kind of like a gun for hire in that sense. I'll even play live with bands just for shows and stuff like that. So I just try to cover everything as much as possible. But I did just join a band who's about to hit the road here for 30 days. And hopefully that gets announced in the next couple of days.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, my interest is, have you started to notice, you've been doing this long enough, I'm assuming you've got people that are following you.
Yes.
So
exactly. Actually, they don't really follow my bands. They follow me. And that's why a lot of people, the game has changed. A lot of bands, they try to, make their thing as a band and the band image and the band and the band and the band this. And the problem that I have with a band is simply counting on other people to get things done. If I want to accomplish something, I tend not to count on the other guy. And that's the whole part of me making my own image as Joshua Lopez and not Joshua Lopez Rice, Joshua Lopez Feeds, Joshua Lopez Radio on Repeat, Sonic Boom. You know what I mean? It's not that. I'm not trying to be that. I'm trying to be myself, and brand myself. And I think that's where a lot of people, kind of get stuck in everything, is they're trying to create their band's brand. And it kind of, I feel bad in a sense that, like, they're giving all their effort. Often do you see a band that's like one dude who's doing everything. He's writing the music, he's getting the art together, he's doing the shows, and in the end of the day, he's doing it all for the band and this name that, isn't going to be as around after the fact. What's going to be around after the fact is Josh. Josh is going to be there. No matter what band I'm going through, I'm still...
oddly enough, I was actually going to bring in as an example, Josh Homie. Various projects he's in, I'll listen to. I don't listen to him exclusively, but one of the things I find fascinating is the way they set up the desert sessions, and the idea that it is just, we're bringing in, this person, but now we put them together and we do, this is a thing that stands on its own, but you're also bringing in those various audiences that are going like, okay, this dude's doing a thing and I like that dude, so let me listen to this and let me...
So the thing right now in today's age is like collaboration. Collab, bro? You want to collab, bro? And that's me. I'm sorry, but that's totally me. But that's how you cross markets. Okay. Is collaboration.
Are you starting to notice that with the various groups? Is there kind of
so that's why I play with so many people, is because I'm a big collaborator. Last year I did a video. It was called the RGV Shred Collab 2019. And basically for 10 minutes, you have 30 guitar players in the RGV shredding every like 30 seconds or so over this track, so you can get a feel. And that was like the biggest collaboration that I ever put on. But aside from that, like I'm endorsed by Legator Guitars, so I reach out to those guys. Hey, you want to do something together? You know, that's how we cross markets. I'm a really good producer, so that works for me. That I could say, hey, I'm gonna do this badass video and this badass audio just to collab with you. You kind of don't have to worry about anything other than your part. Right. You know what I mean? So it kind of gets them to say yes more than no. But I constantly try to, you know, get with other stuff. You know, I play with Sonic Boom, but I did a guest solo for another video game band called Bitforce. And then our markets cross. Now we're playing Bitfest here in a couple of weeks, and all their audiences finally, after over a year, are going to get to meet, you know, see Sonic Boom for the first time, which they've already been introduced to because of the collaboration I did with that band.
And you've got content out there that they could go and kind of preview.
Exactly. That's why it's very important, especially for Sonic Boom specifically. I used to run sound for anime conventions, like at the convention center. Right. And so that circuit is you have to sell a show, and I have to sell this package. And part of the package is they got to look how good the goods are, you know, so that they feel, yeah, I'm going to pay $1,000, $2,000 to come fly this band out here, to go do their spiel, you know what I mean? Right. But if they hadn't seen that nice, legit video with nice audio and all that stuff, your chances for being hired, not that I'm saying it's impossible, it's not as likely unless they want to see the goods. Everybody wants to see the goods before they buy in, you know what I mean? And everybody's cheap. Everybody doesn't want to spend money, so it's a gamble on any comedian, actor, band. It's a gamble for the person hiring you if they don't know what your spiel is about. Yeah. I'm a good comedian, bro. I'm good. Okay, well, how do I know that?
And it's either gonna be like I said, like you're saying, if they know you from like social media or whatever, or honestly, for the people that don't know, even today in 2020. Word of mouth is still very effective.
Word of mouth is very powerful. I've
gotten many different, a handful of gigs because of something somebody else said, and they were like, "Hey man, you need to reach out to this guy," so on and so forth. Like you, for example, I never knew that you had seen me before, but you saw me somewhere. So and I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just telling you it's an example. Like, so it only takes someone like you to be like, "Hey man, I saw that guy for 5 minutes. He was funny. You need to get him or whatever." Or like you can go here to go see him. Or even if you go like, follow him on social media or whatever. Any little push for any creator, even like somebody like yourself, helps. That's why I get mad when people look at their page and they're like, "Oh shit, man, I only got 20 likes."
It's not the likes.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I tell people. Don't base your following on social media likes, because you're gonna be let down plenty of times. Base your likes on, like what you were saying earlier, the people that you can convey and convince to like come to your show. Falls back to like word of mouth, how good you are, and the content that you're constantly putting out.
But it also, so that is, you're 110%. A lot of my business as Widowmaker Studios is purely word of mouth. In fact, when I got on Google, I was getting so many calls all the time that I actually took myself off of Google because business was just getting too hard to keep up with. And word of mouth is a great way, but it's one avenue, and you can't put all your eggs in one basket, right? Another thing is like you said you've seen my comedy act, but I remember seeing the comedy act, and I remember your stand up, but because I wasn't reminded somehow, it completely like just went to the back of my head. Not until Sean brings me up on a podcast and you hear that, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. And you know what? I've seen you even more online, but not from you. From other people. You know what I mean?
Shit, now
that's the power of social media is you got somebody.
I'm way more interested now. I'm just curious, man. How did that happen? Because you're only the third person
to tell you that.
To tell, and I got scared when the last person told me. So I hope you don't start this sentence off like this. She said, "My daughter showed me your video." And I was like,
so
first of all,
you're so good. That word of mouth is working so good that people feel compelled to put up their phone and put you on some social media. This guy is so funny. You need to see this. See, bro, you already have like natural organicness spewing from you. And I see all this untapped.
Sean, organicness means.
I'm trying real hard not to make that joke. You know exactly what joke.
Say the joke. I want to hear the joke. It's going to be dirty. Make it dirty.
Of course. No, I'll leave this to the audience. This is a homework assignment, people. A plus B equals what now?
No, but I was serious about that question though. Just if you can, how did that happen? I'm just curious.
I don't know. See, that's the thing is like I'm on social media all the time because it is how I make a lot of my money in my business. You know, I find people on social media. I try to be very aware of what's going on in.
But you're saying that somebody else.
Yeah, somebody else. It was not. It definitely wasn't a video from you. It was somebody else who posted a video of some of your stuff.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, whoever.
And some video from you. It wasn't you doing stand up, but it's you in the video. Just because, like, you were somebody else. You took a video of this podcast. Actually, I seen you from the podcast. There you go, man. You see how much this podcast has already worked for you? You know what I mean? And that's only one avenue. I've seen you because of the podcast.
To go back to the conversation we were having earlier about burning material, I think there is an exorbitant amount of fear, the unwarranted fear of burning material. Granted, if you're playing the same thing over and over, but most people, comics are special breed because they want to break it down and go, "Oh, dude, that punchline and the way you did that." But
exactly.
But most people listen to it, they go, "You're funny," and then they never remember what the fuck you said.
Exactly.
Maybe if you started to tell them the joke, it might kick in.
See, you have an edge, right? You have a topic that you talk about, and I don't remember how funny the joke was, or I remember the joke was funny, but I remember the topic that you covered on.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Which was, you talking about your condition and using that as your comedic edge. So that's what
resonated.
Left with and resonated, and I left with. This was a funny guy, and this is what your spiel was.
Yeah.
1, 2, you know what I mean? People, in anything, you can find the goodness in the art and the intricacy of any artist out here in the valley, and everybody's super deep, right? But at the same time, you got to be able to draw people in with a quickness, and then they get invested. Did you just automatically want to go check out all of Dave Chappelle's stuff out of nowhere? You know what I mean? Any comedian for that matter? Did you just wake up, oh yeah, I just wanted to keep watching this guy's stuff over and over and over again? No, he did something, it caught you, and then you started realizing, wow, Dave is really a lot smarter than I really thought he was. Here he started on, doing Mel Gibson movies.
I was going to bring up Men in Tights.
Men in Tights. Me and my chick are obsessed with Men in Tights.
It's a great movie.
What Dave sold me as a comedian, like himself to me, with that whole homeless guy jerking off on the subway. I thought that was the most fucking.
It was on the bus.
He's looking at you.
Yeah.
Get back!
Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
We've talked about this, man. The very first time it got put in my head was Def Comedy Jam when he's talking about doing the pizza delivery in DC. I was the only guy, pizza man with a gun, y'all. Oh, it's just. And it's
fucking hilarious.
And the thing is, it's not even if you go back and listen to his older material, it's light years.
To worry that now.
Yeah. But like you were saying, the innate organic appeal was there. He was in the natural showmanship, which is not necessarily natural. He's been doing that since 14, I believe.
Yeah, 14.
Yeah, but
I didn't grow up in the hard time life. I had it pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. But it goes back to what you were saying earlier. It's the natural. It's how naturally funny you can be.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can't force anything. I feel like some people, in all things, I want to be a comedian because that's what I want to be. And then they're like, man, I'm sorry, you just don't got it. Or I want to be a musician, but man, like you just don't got it.
Like I used to think that way, but now, again, through some experiences, I tell people, and I hope people can understand, because I don't want to encourage every fucking buddy to fucking try comedy, but even when you're not funny at the beginning, but I feel, my personal opinion, if you can be geniusly creative first with your writing and your delivery, I strongly believe that the funny can come later.
Yeah.
But if you're not funny and you're not creative and you think that you're going to live off dick jokes.
Okay, so creativeness. Let's talk about that for just a quick sec. Creativeness. When a new comedian is going to come in, creative, I can be creative, and then they start doing stuff and you just realize everything's totally unstructured and everything's just all over the place. I think you still have to do your homework if you're going to be creative, which means learn the basic and learn what a flow is and do your homework. You're not learning how to be funny yet, right? The funny isn't even, but you're learning the structure of this comedian and the flow. And then you decide, how can I be creative with this? Then you know what I mean?
I tell everybody the best thing, if you know nothing about comedy, but you enjoy it to the point where you want to try it, this is what I tell everybody. Go watch your favorite, I don't care who the fuck it is, as long as it's not Amy Schumer, fuck Amy Schumer. I don't give a fuck who it is. Go watch your favorite comedian's hour special. But when you watch it, don't watch it to laugh. What you need to watch is listen.
Pay attention to that detail, bro.
Exactly. Listen to the joke and then figure out the punchline. And that's just the beginning. Yeah. Then what you got to do from there, once you figure out what the joke is and where the punchline is, this is the hard part that a lot of people don't know how to do. I mean, if you're a comic, you probably figured it out by now. But then the difficult task, you have to figure out why that punchline was funny. That's what you have to figure. And sometimes it's really fucking difficult because there's a lot of different factors that can make one punchline funny. Real quick, I'm not going to go through all of them, but for example, it doesn't have to be creative, but if it's surprising from left field, funny.
Okay, but not surprising where it's like a dick joke and it didn't even match the thing left field. It's got to be surprising where surprising has to come full circle.
Exactly. Now, surprising with creativity. So, one of my favorite jokes of all time from Jerry Seinfeld and simplicity, right?
Simplicity.
And Jerry is the master at that. One of my favorite jokes that he has is that it starts off what you were saying earlier, factual. He said, I was reading in the paper the other day that the biggest fear in human beings is stage fright. People cannot stand speaking in front of people. The second biggest fear in the world, in human beings, is death. So, next time that you're in a funeral, just remember that the guy giving the eulogy thinks he's better off in a box. I just like the surprise. And again, this is the third point that I was going to make. See how I said that joke? And that's really the joke. But with me, it wasn't that funny. Mm-hmm. The reason that it wasn't that funny is because the next thing that you need to figure out is the delivery. You can have a hilarious joke when you write it down, but if you do not have the right delivery, and it's everything from the way you say it to the mannerisms to the pauses,
and shit like that, the pace,
then it's not gonna be there.
Because like there's those jokes where they use a pause in the joke. If you didn't pause for that quick moment, it's not funny, right? And that it goes back to, like Borat, right? He does, this shirt is black. Not. But then Borat says it back and goes, this shirt is black, not. Yeah. Right? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I feel like a lot of people need to pay attention to detail when it comes to, the subtleties of pace, pausing, delivery, mannerisms. I go on with this argument back and forth, and I'm pretty convinced, like, when you hear a comedy and when you see stand-up, when you hear stand-up comedy and when you see stand-up comedy has a lot to do with the delivery of the joke.
So, and another thing that I point out all the time is you have those comedians that think that the darker you get in subject matter, the funnier it is. And I tell everybody that is not true. The darker you get, the more difficult it is to make somebody laugh. It's a very hard craft to accomplish, to get very dark and then end up very funny. Because
I think it's very akin to like explosives. It's you're dealing with a lot more energy there when you're tapping into people's visceral stuff. Yeah. When
like for example, I'm different. I'm a different animal as far as an audience member. I don't give a shit if you talk about like rape, if you talk about molesting a child. As long as it's funny, I'm cool because I understand it's a joke.
It's a joke, yeah.
But there's people that are not gonna always, take it that way.
Well, look at Dave Chappelle, and the LGBT.
Yeah, well, I have a better example of getting darker because I have dark material too. You know what I'm saying? But I know where the fine line is, and I'll give you an example with myself. I used to run 2 rape jokes. They worked flawlessly in LA. When I came down here, I done tried those jokes a handful of times, and I got none but the oohs and the ahs and the fucking, do I have to call a police officer to, you know what I mean? Did I just witness a crime? You know what I mean? So anyway.
Yeah, because everybody here is behind in time.
Yeah. So anyway, my point is,
slight possibility there's more rape going on here, but I'm not going to say that for sure.
One of the greatest things, one of the greatest jokes that I'll never forget, that it gets really dark, but it was just like absolutely hilarious, was Gerard Carmichael's rape joke. And he asked actually an audience member. I was like, man, let me ask you a question. You know what I'm saying? You seem like a very smart lady. And it was funnier because of the previous joke that he said. I can't remember the previous one, but this one standalone, it was still funny. He said, it's like, for example, let's say that you're walking down a dark alley and you get ambushed by 2 guys and they begin to rape you. Oh, he was like, it's like making a wish. Everybody thinks that if you had a wish and you can make that wish and it comes true no matter what, that it would be great. So let me give you an example, man. Let's say you're walking down a dark alley, 2 men ambush you, and you immediately begin to get raped. But as you're being raped, you look up at the sky, you see a shooting star, and you can now make a wish. Keep in mind, whatever wish you make, it's gonna come true. So let me ask you a question. Would you wish to stop the rape? Or would you wish for $1 million? Before you answer, think about it. This was the punchline that I never saw coming. Think about it. You're already being raped. I was like, holy shit.
I'm getting my $1 million.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So that was
keep in mind you're already getting
he was, and there again,
might as well let him
there was that subtle pause and that mannerism. He was like, think about it. You're already being raped.
Yeah.
So I mean, to me, now, I the first time I heard that joke, I nearly pissed my pants. But because my humor is really fucked up. That's just me. Like, I nearly pissed my pants. But when I was able to, like, step back and peel it back, I was actually able to think, I was like, holy shit, that joke was horrible. That was horrible. And I started thinking like an audience member. I was like, did I just witness a rape or some shit? You know? So, but again, my point is that it takes the mastering of a craft to pull off a joke like that. Yeah. And I'll speak for myself. Yeah. I would not be able to pull off like a joke that dark, going that deep. I would not be able to. But it just takes time to master.
If you're going to learn how to knife fight, you're going to get cut, and it's very possible you drop that wrong tone, wrong word choice, timing, and the whole room just goes no.
Putting one word in front of the other could be that difference.
Yeah,
it's treading. You're treading on.
Bill Burr has a great bit about them.
I think people are like, everybody just needs to be okay with it, but you got to understand that you're treading on, shallow water.
Yeah.
When you decide to go in that territory, that's like a band who decides to do shock rock. You know what I mean? Shock rock is like, Guar or El Ducho, right? They're shock rock. You're already, Marilyn Manson, right? You're already like treading on, you better be good. Somebody like Marilyn Manson, he's a guy who is very good at his craft because the delivery is everything. The way he delivers his music, right? Which arguably isn't the best music ever. I am a fan, but I can't say that everything comes from him is like, awesome and great and the best stuff. But
there's very much a crossover there in that you can hide. You talked about the shock value, Freddy, and there's very much you see comics come in, especially when they're open mics. You see it all the fucking time, and they go, "Oh, if I just shock them, that might equate to laughter."
And
so Mark, that guy that came in an open mic, remember that guy?
Yes.
Mark does that. Mark did this thing, and he really blew me away,
man. It's not Mayhem, is it?
No, not Mark Mayhem.
Pena. By the way, he'll be hosting this Wednesday down in Sino. Oh, this comes out later.
He's a funny guy. He's a funny guy, and he did something truly ballsy. And I knew the girl he did it to, but he said something that offended an audience at the bar.
Oh, shit, I remember this now.
Yeah. And my friend, she starts yelling at him from across the bar, and he's like, shut the fuck up. Like, shut up. Ah, look, she's still fucking going. Shut up. I'm the one talking. I don't know. Like, but he was going with his joke, right? Because he was trying to make this joke that was like, that just offended her. Like, to me, I'm like, whatever. Like, wow, you woman really took that over the top, because he's a comedian doing what comedians do best, which for him at the time was like ruffling her feathers to get a reaction out of the crowd. And I thought it was hilarious.
And I told Sean not too long ago, I did the same thing earlier, like 2 weeks ago. And I wasn't even trying to. Well, I mean, I was, but it's not something that I thought about, wrote down, and I was like, okay, I'm going to study it and then I'm going to say it. It's just something that naturally came out. Then I realized that I was like, oh shit, it's kind of fucked up. I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't regret what I said, but I was like, hey, it was kind of fucked up, the whole Kobe Bryant thing. I was with my coworkers, right?
You just did that in the wrong environment.
Oh, okay. You are coming at a.
So I'm gonna say what I said.
Good joke. Good joke.
Oh, okay. Well, then you answered my fucking question. I was gonna say, give me y'all's judgment, and it's not even a joke that I set up. Like I have nowhere. I didn't write it down. I didn't think of it.
It just came.
Now that you said it, and you said it that night, like now I'm thinking, should I integrate this into my act? I'm trying to figure it out at this point.
You gotta feel the crowd. I would just feel the crowd and be like,
Well, what I said was,
any Lakers fans in here?
They were making fun of me, basically. They were making fun of me, right? And somebody said something stupid along the lines of like, they were like, all right, well, Fred, like if you do, you gotta catch me first. That's what they said, right? A typical cripple joke.
Okay.
So I was like, hey man, well, I really hope that you can outrun a 38, because from 3-point range with a 38, I shoot better than Kobe. That got the silence, right? But this was the punchline, and I didn't think of it as a punchline at the time. I was like, but at this point, I think anybody shoot better than Kobe, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then everybody, like, 3 of them turned around and that's fucked up. That is really fucked up.
Like, come on, that's your job, though.
Yeah, so
I don't get offended. Just so you know, like
Yeah.
I see that stuff and I think it's hilarious. You know, I think people are really sensitive in today's day and age.
yeah,
There's something to be said of cultivating an environment and an audience. You know what I mean? There's a reason you get like themed comedy shows and
Yeah, I get. Okay, I'm a very like good vibed person and peaceful person. I feel like there are people out there who are good vibe people, but when something like that happens, they get triggered, and then it's like, are you really a good vibe person? Because really, you let that like get on your nerves way too far.
benefit of the doubt, there's some people that can't help it. There's a reason we have that word trigger. There are people out there who get tripped by things, but if you're being honest with yourself, it's not some crippling anxiety thing. Please, people, take that as a learning experience. Maybe it's something you didn't know about yourself. Like, oh shit, I didn't know that would offend me. You know what I mean?
And I tell everybody, man, look, man, I tell everybody time and time again, everything that I fucking say, I say it especially when I'm on stage, I say it with the intention of making you laugh, not to piss you off. It's how you interpret the joke.
Yeah.
But my point is that whole, like them, they told me, he was like, oh, well, I mean, that whole Kobe joke, one of my coworkers told me, I was like, oh, well, you think it's funny or whatever. And they asked me, they were like, oh, you think it's funny because you're here? And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, would you have the balls to say that joke in LA? And I told him, I was like, well,
is the 38 on me?
No. What I said was, is there security? That's what I said. I was like, man, and I told them, honestly, dude, because you said yourself, I'm edgy and shit like that. That's what I thrive on. So honestly, I'm on stage, I'm a risk taker. So honestly, if I was in LA, I probably would.
Yeah.
Would I probably get threatened and maybe shot? But
you know what's funny is
would I sacrifice that risk for the laugh? Fuck yes, I would.
And I feel like people would be like, you wouldn't say that if you're in LA, and then you go say it in LA, and everybody's like, ha! That was funny.
Exactly.
Depending where you are, man.
And there, you know what I mean?
Well, all right, think about like down here in the valley, man. You get a lot of self-depreciating humor just based on the fact that we're in the valley, yada, yada, 20 years behind. A lot of it's not necessarily true anymore, but the fact is you find that, you know, we shit on ourselves and we enjoy it. But you will run into motherfuckers. You go, you know, fuck Donna. And they go, hey, man. And you're like, no, seriously, fuck Donna and fuck you. But, you know, I understand where you're coming from. Maybe there's something there. You're compensating for something. I understand. Just don't use your hometown for it. But I was going to say that I just heard a anecdote the other night about a comic who managed to, you want to talk about overstepping the line. They managed to piss off the security. So when somebody rushed the stage,
they moved out of the way.
Yeah, pretty much. They gave him like a free 30 seconds. They were like, all right, let him go for a little bit. I was like, all right, now let's go get him. But, yeah, there is, again, going back to the shock thing. If
the audience,
anger can, it's, trying to remember the exact quote of that, but basically love and hate are two sides of the same coin. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So there is definitely the potential, high skill level move, but there is the potential to turn anger, disgust, whatever it is, shit, my words are escaping me, offense in some way, that negative emotion, if you can kind of build it and funnel it, that can become laughter. I mean, that's basically, honestly, at the base, man, I do believe laughter is a defense mechanism. It's the thing where you go.
Mean, I've had friends who are like getting in trouble and they're laughing, and you're like, why are you laughing? It's like that.
I've been in fist fights where I was giggling my ass off. Was not enjoying myself, but that was just the body going like, you're not dead, stupid. Keep moving. And I think that really is what it is you kind of freeze for a moment. You go, oh shit. And then you go, wait, no, I'm alive. I'm good. Woohoo. And it's a release mechanism. It's a coping mechanism.
I was going to say that too. I mean, growing up, I was picked on a lot for obvious fucking reasons. And just real quick story is not even a story, but just to show my point. One of the first times that I got locked up and I was in the county jail, people don't understand. I mean, not unless you've been in county jail for at least over a month. Like in county jail, sometimes it can get crazy and, you know, there's fights, but when there's fights, it's no 1-on-1, 2-on-1. There's like 10 motherfuckers going on one. That is just the way it is, you know? The reason as to why I say that is because I've been numerous times I was asked that if I was locked up, if nobody ever like tried me or went at me. And I tell people, luckily, I was never even touched when I was, you know, for the periods that I was there, the multiple times. But I do remember going back to what Sean was saying, as laughter being a defense mechanism is true, because I do remember the couple of times that I was in jail. I was kind of sort of the funny one, like cracking jokes, believe it or not, on inmates. So they would actually laugh. Now, given 85% of the jokes were about myself, but they would make people laugh. So I feel that a lot of that kind of made them ease off of like, don't fuck with them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And a lot of people, not a lot, but quite a few people would actually defend me if I needed to. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, because you made them laugh.
Exactly. See what I'm saying?
Comedy is great in that way. You know what I mean?
You're a human-shaped resource at that point.
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
but I don't know. That's what I asked.
Don't mess up the funny guy. He's the only entertainment we have in this whole place.
It's like if you start smashing the TV, they're gonna be pissed.
I don't know if that was entirely the reason why they didn't fuck with me or whatever. But then I also hear stories like the stories that Joey Diaz has told before, and this dude was in prison. This dude did 3 years in federal prison, right?
Hilarious.
So the reason he also says the reason that he was never fucked with was because he started his comedy career in prison. So other inmates thought he was hilarious, so they would actually tell him. They would call him Uncle Joey. That's where he got it from. They would tell Uncle Joey to go up there and tell jokes. He did say once, I heard him in an interview, that one guy told him, hey man, he's like, oh, why don't you just get up on the desk real quick? He's like, dude, do you jokes? And he was like, I wasn't feeling it, dog. I didn't want to. And he said that he did kind of threaten him. He was like, get up there and do jokes or else. And he was like, all right, fine. And so he was kind of forced to do it. So, but anyway, he would do jokes. He would perform stand up, in front of a handful of inmates. And that was kind of his defense mechanism, and he developed like his act from there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if it was.
That's probably why he's so dirty all the time. He has to be like that for the inmates.
Yeah, man,
because they love that.
We've talked about this, man. Like a lot of Joey Diaz material is there's not necessarily the traditional joke structure there, but
he's more of like a no filter type of comedy.
The storytelling.
That's why you know about the nuns and how he grew up in that environment and an Italian family and
I'm not saying
Julie Snorbush. Yeah.
And I'm not saying like, how can I put this? I'm not saying that's exactly me, but I feel that part of my comedy influence came from that. I learned my storytelling. Well, first of all, because it's all I got. These are my experiences. I don't know what else to share with you. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm sharing my experiences, but I did learn that from Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy. Till this day, Eddie Murphy's ice cream man joke, oh my God, bro. But you know why? going back to what you said earlier, because that joke was so relatable, just the way Eddie like painted that picture that he says that he stood in front of his 8-story building, you know, in Section 8 or whatever, and he started yelling at his mom, "Mama, the ice cream manager, ice cream, I need $1 to get ice cream." It just clicked with me because in the hood, it was like all we wanted was, you know, to get ice cream when the freaking truck drove by as well. And me being crippled, every kid could ride a bike. So I couldn't. I literally had to stand in the middle of the street to try to stop this guy, to wait for my mom to come out and give me $1. And, you know, cause if he left, I was fucked.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I could relate to the joke as well as me yelling, ice cream, I want ice cream. And the way that Richard and Eddie told these stories is where I kind of got, and it clicked, kind of like my friend pushing me to, you know, do comedy. I always thought about, like, I'm not funny. Like, what am I going to tell them? And he said, "Dude, you're funny. Just tell them your story." And I was like, "Dude, I don't have a story." And he was like, "Yeah, you do. Just tell them how you grew up." And I just took off from there. So I constructed these stories from my experiences that I went through, and I became that storyteller. Now, the reason as into why storytelling comedy worked for me was because I'm not smart enough to tell you something else. Like, yeah. I'm not smart enough about politics. I'm not smart enough about science. I'm not smart. Like, so all I got is my stories. And if my life stories, honestly, if my life stories weren't good enough to make you laugh, then I wouldn't be a good comedian. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I picked it up from the greats. I picked it up from Richard. I picked it up from Eddie. If you go back and you look at all these folks from Dave Chappelle, they have these stories of how they grew up, how they were, what they did, and Joey. You know what I'm saying?
Being relatable is the biggest, especially as a comedian, is the biggest deal, and you see that with like Mario, right? Mario Salazar.
Yeah.
He's puro pinche valley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He relates to who? The RGV.
Yeah.
Mario's one of those guys,
you know what I mean?
You've met Mario. Even if you've never met Mario himself, you've met
a Mario.
before.
You've met
Yeah.
because he's another RGV guy. You know what I mean? Like, and everybody relates to him. And I remember. I don't drink this because, or what did he say? He's like, I drink michelada, Bud Light michelada, porque me vale verga.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like and it's a lot of relatable RGV and Mexican humor and shit like that. I remember when I moved back down here to the person that I first told that I wanted to start up doing comedy again, because I took a long break, like, from not doing comedy at all. And when I moved back down here from California, I remember the first person that I told that I wanted to do comedy again. And then they heard me do comedy like the first 1 or 2 times. And they told me that I would never make it. And these were their exact words. "You'll never make it because you don't have any Mexican humor." That's exactly what they said.
I think we were talking the same
I think
person.
that's wrong. I think somebody who gave you that idea.
No. And honestly, all I told them was, "Watch me." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because I knew for a fact, once I was able to hone the storytelling, and once my friend, may he rest in peace, that was able to convince me that my stories were funny, because he told me, he's like, "You don't understand, bro. I know you don't see it because you're living it, but your lifestyle is unique. Nobody lives the life that you do."
Yeah.
He's like, "I don't have another crippled friend." You know what I'm saying? So he's like, "You need to deliver this like if it was your own thing." So once I was able to grasp what he meant, like, it took off. And to this day, I can't think of like one Mexican joke that I've said. You know what I'm saying? So,
how about Barrio? I'm talking about.
I have
That's
some,
relatable. That's relatable.
I
everybody.
I have some about I don't know if you heard 5 minutes. I'm pretty sure you didn't hear this bit. I'm not gonna tell you the bit, but I do have a joke that I talk about. When I was growing up, I was picked on a lot, so I had to learn to create a defense mechanism, but I couldn't do it by myself. So what I did was I went out and I created my own gang. And I called them the Southside Cripples.
Bro, I heard you tell this joke.
Bro,
I did tell you this joke. Yeah,
all right.
That was a good one. Yeah. And so nobody would pick up.
Yeah, exactly, man. So see, that's.
I remember thinking about that because I grew up on 83 and 23rd, deep in Zavala. That Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
So that's where I grew up at. Not a very pretty place in town.
Yeah, of course.
I always grew up being too, I guess, light complected for a lot of those people. And I was always getting picked on and the outsider all the time. And I remember you telling that joke and it made me just picture being in first grade at Zavala, getting knocked out once.
Yeah, man. And again,
that's relatable, right? That's the relatableness of you made me think about that and go
And I go back and going along with the relatable part of it, people don't understand. And I know that people will see this, play it back and think that I'm bullshitting. People don't understand that I really did try to do that shit. I really did. I was like, hey man, can you know what I'm saying? Let's think if we come together, you understand? You know what I mean? And I convinced 4 motherfuckers. One of them had a helmet.
And maybe we weren't a gang, but we were a gang of some sort.
The reason that I say that is because that's how we got busted. We passed a stupid ass note in class, and some dumbass, it wasn't me, wrote on the top of the paper in big ass letters too, what's gonna be the name of our gang. The teacher intercepted that note and he's like, what is this gang related shit we're talking about here? And we all got busted trying to fucking,
we couldn't even do that right.
Yeah,
shit.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
It's our gang. I'm Spanky. He's Darla. That's
so again, it goes to the how relative it is. But also, people don't know. I really did try to do that. The only reason that it's funny to you is because, again, I twisted the punchline to make you laugh. But that I really did do that shit.
Well, I was actually thinking about this. I was listening to what's his name? Big shaggy ass hair. Gabriel.
Carrot Top?
No.
Oh.
Gabriel Iglesias has that one joke about them going through the fucking the border patrol. His name is escaping me right now, man. Big, almost Samoan. What's Up Fool podcast?
Felipe.
Yes, Felipe Esparza, man. Dude.
The one where he's like, at least they didn't catch us with the weed. It was like, you want to run that by me again?
I like the one that he says, yeah, man, I understand. When we were crossing the border to get to the U.S., I mean, they searched our car. They didn't want anything illegal to, come into the United States. But when we were crossing back into Mexico, the Mexican Border Patrol searched us, and they were like, we don't want anything coming into our country. Like, what? Progress?
Right. But I bring that up, man, because Esparza has that. He's given you a stream of consciousness sense to it, so you're getting not just the story he's telling you, but you're getting his visceral reaction in the way he's telling you.
Yeah.
So
that's his edge, right?
You don't even have to have a reference point like he tells the jokes about being a crackhead and all that shit, and it's you don't have to be a crackhead to enjoy that because he's telling you the experience of a human being.
The picture.
Yeah.
And that's one of the last things that I was going to tell you as far as the characteristic. What a lot of comics today, I feel that they forget to that is very important. And if you're not doing it as a comic, I encourage people to start doing it. You have to literally, if you can paint a picture to the script that you're telling. Your joke is the script. If you can, it's like a fucking movie. If you can paint that picture and connect it, I guarantee you your joke is going to be up to 10 times funny.
Yeah.
If you
But
can
do
paint,
it.
but you have to do that vivid picture like he does.
Yes, but do it. But don't fucking like. I feel like you have to paint the picture, but don't spend all your time on the detail
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
damn thing too. You know, to paint the picture, but don't spend like 5 minutes telling us, you know, why we don't need to know why the windows are red. We just need to know that they're red.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In a sense.
Well, it's kind of like the video series I brought up in the first hour about explaining things at a different level of understanding. You know what I mean? The level of complexity. It's like, imagine, okay, you write the story and it's like, okay, anybody who has the reference can understand the story. But now you got to go back and rewrite it in a way where somebody who has no reference for this can understand what you're going through.
Now, what are the key things they need to learn? Okay, well, I need to fit those into my joke, right?
Now, this is the other thing. Going back to what we were talking about earlier about recording just the audio. One of the biggest hurdles that somebody runs into recording an audio version of a comedy special is the fact that you have to be very good and very vivid at painting these pictures, because the listener is not going to see you or your mannerisms.
Yeah.
And mannerisms count for a lot.
So like if you talk about, you know, your whole spiel, does it work on audio only?
Yeah.
If you haven't painted the picture?
Yes. No. Not if I haven't painted the picture. No.
But if you in person, that isn't going to be an audio thing. You can leave certain things out and trim some of the fat because they can obviously see.
I think
that may also fail, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm going to answer your question directly. I have done, not many, but I've done sets where at the beginning of my set, I don't explain what's wrong with me. Like at all. I completely skip it and go into other jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I have gotten audience members to where like halfway into my set, they're confused because they don't know if I'm drunk or I'm under the influence. Like, what did that guy have to drink? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because they start thinking about that, they start not paying attention to the rest of the jokes. So I have found that when there's a lot of people that have not seen me live before, it is best practice for me to just kind of point out what's wrong and make it funny real quick so that I can captivate their attention and make sure that I have the best chance of keeping it.
Yeah.
Because it's happened before.
I think on the opposite end of that, if you needed like a real world example of this, try to go back and listen to Dane Cook's early specials, audio only. So much of his act is the motion that
of him on the freaking chair, like yeah.
Well, all right.
He does certain things explaining right when he talks about like a chick playing with herself and she does the praying mantis thing. You know what I mean? He explains that and you get that, but yeah, there are a lot of things in Dave Chappelle early jokes that like you need to kind of be watching him to get a lot of it.
The one that is great on fucking audio and you don't have to like watch it. I'm telling you because I've heard the audio versions now is Kevin Hart.
Oh yeah.
Kevin Hart is a master. He will make you piss your pants just listening to the audio because he's great at painting that fucking picture that you can close your eyes and you can clearly see what he's talking about.
I grew up listening to George Lopez in audio only, and I always thought he was really good at like showing how poor his life really was.
Yeah, exactly.
And even if you watch George Lopez now, it's not. There's motion on stage. He's moving on stage, but it's
not 100% necessary.
I think it's kind of akin to a snake charmer. It's like, I'm going to stay in motion. And I think we've talked about this, man. It's like, I'm going to stay in motion so that like you're kind of forcing the visual to track you. So the brain is free to accept what's coming in. You know what I mean? You're not getting distracted. You're not looking away. You're not going, why is this motherfucker you know, the lighting sucks in this place. Well, some nice shoes. You know, you're not distracted.
About other things. Yeah.
You're giving them something else to focus their attention on in a way.
And some people, because some people have asked me, because I legitimately do, a lot of people don't know, but I legitimately do to this day have stage fright. I legitimately have that's a real thing, you know?
No, yeah.
So I tell people, they ask me, like, how is it that you can perform, but you have stage fright? And people don't believe me when I ask them that I have to do two things. Number one is very simple. I start scrolling. I don't know if you have kids, but I start scrolling through pictures of my kid right before I get on stage, right? And that kind of calms my nerves and calms me down and stuff like that. But the biggest part that a lot of people don't know is that everything that I tell you on stage has been written, it's been performed, it's been timed, it's been memorized, and it's like cooking. Then I bring it to you on stage, like it or not, right? But what a lot of people don't know is to kind of help me prepare myself to kind of put myself in that situation before I get to the real thing. When I write these jokes and once I figure out what my set is going to be and that I'm going to recite and try to memorize, I try to put myself in the most uncomfortable situation before I get there. So what do? I have a big ass mirror, so I perform my act in front of the mirror, right? Mm-hmm. But I do it naked.
Oh, Jesus, you never added that detail before.
Yeah, so I've said it on stage.
You do.
So I do it naked because it makes me feel uncomfortable. So I feel that if I could perform these jokes flawlessly, being this uncomfortable, I'm going to knock this shit out of the
best
park.
Practice you can get.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
And now that we've given you the image of Freddy talking to himself with his dick out, we are coming up on the end of the second hour here. Josh, by all means, anything you have to push.
Before we close out, I want to close out with this, and this is going to be totally a 180.
He also does it in a wig.
Totally a 180. We're all artists in here. I think I have asked this question before, but I want to ask this to everybody that comes on and sits in that chair. We're all artists. You're a musician. You're a paid musician. You've been doing this for a while. We're comedians. With your craft, with what you do, if you could change one thing in the world with your craft, what would you want to change?
What would I want to change with my craft?
Yes. In the world. That if you died today, you could say tomorrow, people will go back, listen to my music, watch my videos, and it would change this.
I would hope that my stuff makes people more accepting to any alternative thing in their life. Just more accepting in general.
That makes sense.
To everything. I think we're not accepting enough.
Yeah. That makes sense, and I was about to say, and that is a very wise fucking... And to the listeners that didn't understand that, this is recorded, go back and play it again. Because that was simple but deep.
Thank you. I had to think about it a little bit, but I was like, it was something that's impactful. I agree with it.
Gotcha.
Beautiful sentiment, man.
And with that being said,
whatever you got, man.
I'm good, man. Thank you all. If you guys want to see what I do, check me out at facebook.com/Widowmaker Studios or facebook.com/Joshua Lopez Musician. You can pretty much keep up with me, everything I do, and you'll probably see this podcast on those social medias. So, yeah.
Beautiful, man.
Thank you for having me. You guys were a blast.
Dude, this was
very interesting conversations.
Fun, bro. This was fucking fun and insightful. And I do not apologize for the naked dick visual I gave y'all.
On a positive note, I would like to say there were a lot of conversations we had in this one that tie back to long-running conversations that we've been having about how to pursue anything creative. So go back and listen to those episodes. We could use the view count. Freddy.
Y'all can find me everywhere on social media across the board on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Freddy G.
You can find me at hatfieldstandup@gmail.com as well as Hatfield Standup on Facebook and Twitter. If you'd like to listen to any of the audio versions of this podcast, you can go to shoutengine.com/bouncing brains. You can also find us on Stitcher, Google Music Play, and if you'd like to see the video version, you can watch us on YouTube, search Bouncing Brains. You can also catch live, well, not live, but you can catch us every morning on your drive in on rgvtitanradio.com, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.,
Yes.
I believe. Yes, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. New episodes coming out every Friday. Go check it out. There's also a bunch of great local musicians playing on there, so show them some love. Thank you all for listening. Josh, thank you for coming, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And until next time, keep it tight.
Peace.
That was beautiful, brothers.